Whenever we read the book of Job, we always focus on Job had money, Job was rich, Job lost everything, God gave everything back to Job. But we don't actually look at the detail. We don't look overall what happened. We don't look at what really happened within Job. So yes, Satan does ask God his permission to touch Job. That shows that Satan has to ask permission. And when certain things happen to us, we have to know whether it was God ordained or not, and what the lesson is. And so what we see with Job is that he loses everything, and his friends come and his friends are talking in his ear, his girl's talking in his ear. And what Job does is he honors God, he recognizes God, but then in the next breath, it's like he doubts God, and he asks his questions, and he curses himself. And what we find, and he does this for 30 plus chapters. And then what happens that none of us actually realize is that the whatever was in Job's heart actually came to the light. It came to the surface. So for 30 plus chapters, what we see is Job, who seems to be bipolar. We see the condition of his heart and what was actually in his heart. That's why towards the end of the book, there was a young man, younger than him, and he came to Job and his friends, and he first says is that wisdom is not determined by your age. And then he corrects Job and corrects his friends. Then in the next chapter, what we see is that God corrects Job. And he corrects Job because what we see in the 30 plus chapters is that Job's self-righteousness actually comes up. So Job was in 30 plus chapters sitting there in self-righteous. That was in his heart that came up along with other things, but he was self-righteous. So when God corrects Job, what Job then does is repent. See, we don't cover that last part because we don't feel like we need to repent for anything because we feel like we're fine. And so did Job. Until a crisis happened in his life and the condition of his heart came up before God and it came up before him. He was corrected and then he was repented. Then he repented and then God gave him all that he had lost. What is the message? The message is we have gone through a year, even 2 years of where our hearts have been revealed to ourselves. It's been revealed to people and it's been revealed to ourselves. And what many of us have done is many of us are being caught in self-righteousness and we feel like we don't need to be corrected and we feel like we don't need to repent either. Because before the pandemic and before life was happening in these last 2 years, your life was so perfect. That's why things are coming up and you're struggling. We are struggling with the issues of our hearts. And we're not willing to change and we're not willing to admit and we're not willing to even be corrected by God. So, what's the message? Look at your heart. Deal with your heart. Find out what God is saying for your heart. What do you need to do? Who do you need to forgive? And first you forgive yourself. And then find out who else you need to forgive. And find out what else is in your heart where pride is hiding. Where comparison is hiding. Where doubt is hiding. Where anger and frustration is hiding. That's where unforgiveness is hiding. Where disobedience has been there. It's time for us to deal with our hearts. This is a heart thing. It's a heart condition. And it's been like that throughout the whole Bible. So you're not anything different. It's a heart condition.